On a bright, golden morning when the sun poured through the glass walls of the international airport like liquid fire, something unexpected was about to unfold, something that would make strangers stop in their tracks, security officers lift their heads, and even the uninterested glance twice. It began with a woman standing silently near the VIP check-in desk, her hands clasped around a worn passport, her posture calm yet carrying the quiet weight of years of struggle. This woman, Amira Solange, once married to one of the wealthiest businessmen in the region, had endured humiliation, heartbreak, and betrayal so deep that many would have broken under it. But not Amira. She had walked through storms that tried to swallow her whole, and today those storms were about to witness who she had become. For in the next few minutes, the same man who once shattered her, Rhett Langford, the millionaire who built his empire on arrogance and pride, was about to see a side of Amira he never imagined existed. If you believe in kindness, dignity, and second chances, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Tales. It helps stories like this reach more hearts. Amira had not planned for this meeting. She never wanted to stand in the same air, the same space, or even the same memory as Rhett ever again. But fate has a strange way of weaving paths that eventually intersect, even when we pray they don't. She had arrived early, as she always did, wearing simple cream trousers and a soft sky blue blouse that fluttered gently in the airport breeze. Though she carried no expensive brand, her presence held a quiet grace money could never buy. Her deep brown skin glowed softly under the daylight, her eyes steady, and her natural curls brushed down her shoulders like a quiet crown. She looked like peace. She looked like healing. And she looked nothing like the broken woman Rhett had left behind 3 years ago. Rhett, on the other hand, arrived like a storm, loud, disruptive, and drawing attention he believed he deserved. Tall, sharply dressed in a navy suit, wearing sunglasses despite being indoors, he strutted through the airport as if the building itself had been built for him. People recognized him. Cameras flashed. Investors waved. Assistants trailed behind. He absorbed it all with the entitlement of a man who thought the world spun because he breathed. Then his eyes landed on Amira, and the smirk that pulled at his mouth carried the venom of old cruelty. He walked straight to her, his voice elevated enough for others to hear. He made sure of it. His tone carried amusement coated in disdain. His words dug at her clothing, her presence, her quietness. He mocked her as if she were still the woman who once begged him to value her, the woman he dismissed as ordinary when she could no longer bear his infidelity, his insults, and his obsession with status. He belittled her for traveling economy, belittled her for returning to her home country alone, belittled her for still dreaming she could rise. Amira didn't respond. Not because his words hurt, they had long lost that power, but because silence is sometimes the loudest mirror one can hold up to cruelty. Her stillness unsettled Rhett more than any argument ever could. His voice grew louder, desperate even. He wanted her to react, to crumble, to show even a crack of the weakness he once used to control. But Amira simply breathed in, breathed out, and maintained the kind of composure that comes only from rebuilding oneself piece by piece. Around them, people began watching. A mother tugged her child closer. A security guard tilted his head. A group of travelers whispered softly. They didn't know the history, but they recognized humiliation when they saw it. Rhett saw the stares, and instead of stopping, he used them. He wanted the world to witness him winning against the woman he once underestimated. Just as Rhett was about to unleash another wave of mockery, the airport announcement system chimed, followed by the polished voice of the VIP operations manager calling out a name that froze the air itself. Priority arrival for Ms. Amira Solange. Private crew awaiting escort. Please proceed to the executive runway gate. The crowd murmured. Rhett laughed loudly and theatrically, shaking his head as if the announcement were a joke someone had dared to tell in his presence. But then, from the high glass windows behind them, something massive and gleaming approached, something that made people press closer to see, jaws dropping, phones rising to record. It was a private jet, but not just any jet. An $80 million long-range, pearl-white aircraft, its exterior reflecting the sun like a polished diamond. The kind of jet owned only by global leaders, royal families, or billion-dollar innovators. The kind of jet Rhett dreamed of owning one day. The jet rolled to a precise stop on the executive runway. A black luxury transport cart drove toward the terminal. A full crew of pilots, attendants, and security personnel stepped out in uniformed synchronization. They moved with purpose, purpose meant for someone important, someone of power, someone respected. All of them were there for Amira. The VIP manager rushed over, bowing his head respectfully, apologizing for keeping her waiting, while Rhett stood frozen, confusion spreading across his features like a crack in glass. The manager handed Amira a platinum deck pass indicating full cabin access, global clearance, and expedited departure, all labels reserved for high-profile partners of an international innovation firm known across continents. Rhett's voice sputtered. He stammered questions. He demanded explanations. He insisted there must be a mistake. But there was no mistake, not today. Not ever again. As the crew guided Amira toward the private escort gate, the truth began unraveling before everyone's eyes. During the painful years after her divorce, Amira had poured herself into her passion, sustainable tech innovations for underdeveloped regions. She had built projects quietly, humbly, without bragging, without revenge, without noise. She collaborated with global foundations, used her background in engineering, and created designs that caught the attention of a visionary philanthropist with a massive international company. That man, Levent Arcturus, saw her brilliance and invested in her future, not because she was the ex-wife of a wealthy man, but because she was extraordinary on her own. She was now a partner in a billion-dollar global mission to bring clean energy solutions to remote communities, and the jet waiting outside? It belonged to the foundation she co-led. Today she wasn't flying home, she was flying to a high-level summit in Nairobi, where leaders awaited her insights. She had risen, not through wealth, revenge, or ego, but through purpose, resilience, and grace. Rhett, red-faced and trembling, scrambled behind her. He tried to apologize, tried to pretend it was all a misunderstanding, tried to reach for the fragments of the control he once had. But the world shifted beneath him. The power dynamic inverted. For the first time, he realized he had never truly known the woman he destroyed, but Amira didn't gloat. She didn't turn her pain into cruelty. She simply looked at him with calm, steady eyes, the same eyes that once pleaded for kindness, and she felt nothing but peace. Not victory. Not hatred. Not pride. Just peace. Because healing isn't about proving the past wrong, it's about outgrowing the version of yourself that tolerated it. She offered him a quiet, simple nod, one that said, "I forgive you," without giving him permission to re-enter her life. Then she stepped into the transport cart as the crowd watched in awe. The sun lit her face. The wind brushed her curls. She looked like a woman reborn. As the cart carried her toward the $80 million jet, the atmosphere transformed. People whispered her name. Children pointed excitedly. Travelers felt a surge of admiration they couldn't quite explain. Even the staff held their breath, witnessing a moment that felt almost cinematic, the rise of a woman who refused to let pain define her destiny. And Rhett? He stood rooted in place, shrinking under the weight of his own arrogance, realizing too late that the jewel he discarded had grown into a world-changing force. The engines of the jet hummed softly as Amira climbed the steps, her heart full, not of regret for the years lost, but pride for the woman she had become. She took her seat, fastened her belt, and gazed out the window at the world she once feared she'd never belong to. Now it welcomed her.